Well, it's time for All In with Stephanie. We're going to learn together this week how to go all in with Jesus. Last week we talked about seeking God, that when we seek Him, He takes away our fears. And I don't know if you have been walking through a season where you feel out of control or fear has maybe plagued your life at a time or two. If you listened to the episodes last week, you will know that was true. I shared a story about my own life and walking through seasons of fear, and how when I put my trust in God, those fears dissipated, that God took away the fears that I was dealing with. This week, we're going to talk about faith and this lackadaisical approach to faith that we can be tempted to fall into. And we're going to carry on talking in Psalm 34, because there was some verses that as I was reading through that chapter, they just really stood out to me, and I want to share them with you. So last week we talked about Psalm 34:4. This week we're going to focus in on Psalm 34:10, which says this: "The young lions suffer want and hunger, but those who seek the Lord lack no good thing." They lack no good thing. So when we seek the Lord, it's this idea that we have an active faith, right? We've talked in the last 2 weeks about seeking and searching, this idea of looking after God, kind of turning over every leaf, like going to the extent, a full extent of not just leaving our faith to chance, but taking an active approach to our faith. And this idea of lackadaisical faith kind of came to me as I was studying this verse from Psalm 34:10 that says, "Those who seek God lack no good thing." So the opposite of lacking no good thing is this idea of kind of a lackadaisical. And you think about lackadaisical, it kind of reminds me of when you go to the zoo and you see the cats laying down, right? They're just like resting in the shade, under the shade trees. You often don't see them actively busy. Like, they're not just out and about stirring. They're lazy. They're laying under the shade of the day. And what we don't see is oftentimes in the evenings when they're out like prowling and hunting. But what I want to convey to you today, and in the blog that I'm writing this week and in this teaching, I'm focusing in on the purpose-driven life that Rick Warren wrote back in like 2002. I remember going through the book for the first time when I was in college, and I remember even then thinking that I kind of had it all together. I had like many years of faith. I grew up in the church under my belt, kind of knowing, I thought I knew what I needed to know in terms of how to live a life of faith. And then enter the purpose-driven life into my life, and I realized, like, there are some things that needed to be fixed, some things that I needed to sharpen in my life. And I believe that faith is something we will continue to grow in our entire life. There will never be a point when we have arrived at our faith. It's a continual growing and learning experience throughout all of life. So one of the quotes that I love from Rick Warren's book, The Purpose-Driven Life, is this. I want to read it to you. It says, your commitments can develop you or they can destroy you. Your commitments can develop you or destroy you. But either way, they will define you. So this idea of lackadaisical faith in conjunction with what we are seeking after, that this verse tells us that those who seek the Lord lack no good thing. But if we're seeking the wrong things and kind of lazy in our faith, if we're seeking after the things of this world and we're lazy in our faith, then we're going to feel like we're in want and hungry, because we're seeking after things that will not satisfy. And so this week I want to call our attention to the things in our life that we are prioritizing, the things in our life that we have commitment to, that we've committed to in our lives. This could be our lifestyle. This could be how our morning routine. This could be our evening routine. This could be what we're eating. How are we choosing to exercise or not? Have we disengaged from our church body? I know that COVID has done that for a lot of us, that it has kind of allowed us to put church and joining together, meeting together with our church family in the back burner, and that would not be a priority. And so I want to challenge you this week to really focus in on your commitments. What are the things that you are committed to? Are you committed to things that are going to destroy you or develop you? As the quote we read from Rick Warren. But what he's communicating to us in this quote is also that these commitments define us, because they kind of put hedges or parameters around our lives, and they bring to light what it is that we are prioritizing, what it is that we're committing ourselves to. And if we're committing ourselves to things that are not developing us in a positive way, then our lives will be defined in a negative way, right? Does that make sense? So young lions will suffer want and hunger, but those who seek the Lord will lack no good thing. So what we can know from this verse and from the quote from Rick Warren is that when we seek the things of God, when we are committed to the things of God, we will lack no good thing. We will live a life that is not wanting, that we will not hunger and thirst in the way that the world does. Because we hunger and thirst after the things of God, and then He comes in and He satisfies. He comes in and He fills us up with Himself, with His Spirit, and then we are able to move forward in a direction that is one step closer to God. I believe that this book gained a great deal of popularity. The Purpose-Driven Life gained a great deal of popularity because it hit on a topic of our purpose. And I believe that most of us, if not all of us, struggle with that. We want to know what is our purpose here on this earth. And as I was reading and scrolling through Instagram a little bit yesterday, I came across a Tony Evans quote as well that helped, it kind of jogged me as I read it, and it said this: we can either submit to His agenda, He wants us to submit to God's agenda, right? God wants us to submit to His agenda. That's where our commitments are. Our commitments should be in alignment with His agenda. Or we can submit to our own agenda, but we can't honor God with our agenda. It's either we fall in alignment with God's agenda or we follow after our own agenda, but we can't do both. We can't ride the fence and try to follow God's agenda and try to honor Him with our agenda. It's either one or the other. We're either going to honor Him with our life and following after His agenda and our commitment to Him, or we are going to follow after ourselves and our own agenda. And so what is it that we're going to be about this week? So in our time together on Wednesday, when we really start unpacking and looking at some application, we're going to look at more deeply our commitments. What is it that we're committing ourselves to? Take time today to really dig into this verse and really look at the whole chapter of Psalm 34. But look at this verse and ask the Lord, what is it that you're seeking after? And knowing that you will lack no good thing. And if you feel like you are hungry, like you're hungering after the things of this world, that you're striving after things in this world, but they're not satisfying you, maybe it's time to lay those things down and pick up instead what it is that God has for you, knowing that His ways are higher than our ways. His ways are better than our own. Another quote from the Purpose-Driven Life that I want to leave you with today is this: that your wisest moments in life, your wisest moments in life are when you say yes to Jesus. Let me leave you with that, and I look forward to getting back together with you to apply some of these lessons, apply some tactics to our life, how we can remain committed to God, that we won't have a lackadaisical faith, but a faith that is learning how to walk all in with Him. Be blessed, be well, and I'll talk to you on Wednesday. Bye-bye.